Hello, and thank you for joining me today. My name is Katie Runnerstrom, and I'm going to take you through a yoga flow practice. We can get started finding a comfortable seated position either on your mat or on a block. We're going to be in this seated position for the first few minutes of our practice, starting with a little bit of pranayama or breath work and a little bit of dhyana or meditation work to help us find our focus within our body and to help relax our mind or ease our mind of any distractions. So finding your comfortable seated position, you can take your hands resting on your thighs, palms can face down, palms can face up, whatever is comfortable for you right now. And you can either close your eyes or take a soft gaze, again, whatever you prefer. And just start to notice what your breath does naturally. You might already be breathing in and out through your nose. You might be softly breathing in and out through your mouth. Just take these first few breaths to notice what your breath does naturally. And notice as you start to focus on your breath, your mind begins to clear, or if you still have a lot of thoughts, emotions, distractions running around in your mind. If so, you can start to bring our breath practice into a little belly breathing or 3-part breathing, where we inhale through your nose and you feel your belly expand, you feel your ribs pull apart, you feel your chest rise. As you exhale, let your chest fall, your ribs come back in, and your belly deflate. Feel free to even take your hand to your belly and your other hand just above your heart on your chest to notice this movement in your breath. Inhale, belly expands, ribs pull apart, chest rises. Exhale, chest falls, ribs come back in, and belly deflates. Going at your breath's pace for this 3-part breath. Inhaling through the nose and exhaling either through the nose or the mouth. Again, it's whatever is comfortable for you right now. If we choose to exhale through the nose, we might have a little longer exhale as it takes a little longer to push the air through the nostrils. Or if we choose to have an open mouth exhale, it can help create a little sense of cooling. Again, inhale, belly expands, ribs pull apart, chest rises. Exhale, chest falls, ribs come back in, and belly deflates. Continuing for a few more breaths at your pace. And notice as you inhale, if your spine starts to sit a little longer, notice your hips lift out of your sit bone a little higher. See if you can keep your lengthening even as you exhale. On your next exhale, if your hands are on your stomach and your chest, you can keep them there if you'd like to, or bring them back down to your knees. Keeping your eyes closed or with a soft gaze, we'll start to turn to our Ujjayi breath. Inhaling through your nose. Keeping your lips closed softly, push the air through the back of your throat, constricting your throat muscles to create a wave-like sound as you exhale. Again, inhale through the nose. Feel the belly expand, feel the chest rise. Exhale, push the air through the back of the throat. Having this wave-like sound can help keep you focused on your practice and help keep your mind focused on what your body is doing and feeling throughout your practice. You can take this time and notice as we connect to our Ujjayi breath, if there are any other thoughts or distractions in your mind, you can gently try to push them out of the way. They'll most likely come back in throughout practice from time to time. That's okay. You can acknowledge them and just let them go by. Or perhaps if you'd like to think of clearing your mind and putting any of these thoughts in a box or towards the back of your mind so that you can bring your attention to your body and try to stay present on your mat during practice. Finding that Ujjayi breath again. Inhale through your nose. Exhale, push the air through the back of your throat. On your next inhale, lift your arms over your head. Open your eyes if they're closed. Take your gaze between your hands. And then exhale, bring your hands down. Lifting your sit bone off of your mat or off of your block if you were on one. We'll find ourselves in a tabletop position. Hands in line with shoulders, knees in line with hips. We'll begin to find some cat-cows. Exhale, tuck your chin in, round your back up to the sky. Inhale, arch your back, send your tailbone and the top of your head to the sky. Belly button down towards the ground. Exhale, round. Inhale, arch. Creating a little bit of movement and warmth through the torso, through the spine. And you can take this into any other movement that might feel nice, maybe letting your hips drop down as you exhale. Inhale, rounding back up. Exhale, dropping down to the other side. You notice as your hips move, perhaps your elbows naturally bend. Or perhaps we just stay with our cat-cows. Inhaling, arching the back, sending the head and the tailbone up. Exhale, round through the back. Finding a few more cat-cows or whatever variations you want to take. And then on your next inhale, we'll meet back in your tabletop position. Taking your knees to the width of your mat, bringing your big toes to touch. Exhale, sink your sit bone back towards your heels. It's okay if your sit bone doesn't reach all the way to your heels. What we're looking for is just to feel that little bit of hip opener as we send your hips back. Reaching your arms long, we'll find our first balasana or extended child's pose. As you exhale, let the head drop, let the chest fall, and relax down to the mat. Inhale, lengthen through the arms, lift up all 10 of the fingers, spread them out wide. Exhale, let the fingers come down. As you exhale, feel your hips sink a little deeper into your child's pose. Inhale, extend long. Exhale, let the chest sink a little closer to your mat. You can always come to this pose throughout our practice. If you need a little bit of recovery or recentering, or perhaps we find an asana or a pose that doesn't feel right for you, you can always come back here and you can spend the rest of your practice in child's pose, or just take however long you need to recover or recenter yourself. And then you can join me back in the practice. On your next inhale, press through your palms, lift your sit bone up, bring your knees back underneath your hips. Bring your hands back underneath your shoulders, finding your tabletop position again. We'll tuck your toes and exhale. Tuck your belly back towards your spine first. Lift your knees just a couple inches off your mat before we find our first downward facing dog. And then begin to lengthen the legs. Send the sit bone high towards the sky. Sending the heels back towards your mat. It's okay if your heels don't touch the mat. And then pressing through the palms again, you can lift up the fingers. So you feel the weight going through the palms and the balls of the feet. And then letting your head relax so your ears are right between your biceps. Inhale, see if you can get your sit bone, your hips a little higher. Exhale, press your heels a little further back into the mat. We're going to take this into a little movement as well, helping to warm up the body. Exhale, lower back down to tabletop. Inhale, rise back up to downward facing dog. And lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Again, going at your breath pace. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. One more time. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. This time, lifting high on the balls of the feet, preparing to find our first half of sun salutation. We exhale, begin to lower the knees as if you were going to place them on the mat. Shift your weight, shift your sit bone back towards your heels. Look between your hands as if you were going to leapfrog forward and just start to step towards the front of your mat. In between your hands, finding your first forward fold. Again, letting the head hang heavy, relax the neck, bend the knees as much as you need to feel comfortable in this forward fold, to feel the stretch through the back of your legs and maybe through your back, maybe through your feet, but no pain. And again, notice if the head begins to lift, drop it down. If you'd like to find a little movement, you can begin to sway side to side, finding a little ragdoll, perhaps grabbing opposite elbow with hands, creating a frame for your head. And if we are swaying, gently return back to center. Release the hands back down towards the mat. Keeping a slight bend in your knees, we'll inhale. Begin to lift up one vertebrae at a time, coming to the top of your first mountain, hands by your side to start. And then inhale, reach your arms up, coming to the top of your mountain. Exhale, we'll open the elbows, finding a mini back bend here, taking the elbows just outside 90. And then squeeze your shoulder blades together, letting your heart open towards the sky. Inhale, arms reach back up. And exhale, swan dive down to forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, bringing your hands either to your shins or to your thighs. Tuck your belly back towards your spine. Feel your ribs tucking around your organs. Pull your shoulders away from the ground. Feeling the activity through your core and through your torso. Exhale, release, forward fold. We'll go through this first part of our sun salutation again. Inhale, reverse swan dive to the top of your mountain. Exhale, arms just outside 90, mini back bend. Inhale, arms reach back up. Exhale, swan dive down, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, hands to shins or thighs. Pull the shoulders away from the mat. Exhale, release, forward fold. And again, inhale, reverse swan dive to the top of your mountain. Exhale, arms outside 90, mini back bend. Feel free to go a little deeper as you start to feel a little warmer. Inhale, arms reach back up. Exhale, swan dive down, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Pull the shoulders away from the mat. Exhale, release, forward fold. Putting a big bend in your knees, plant your hands, and we'll step one foot back and then step the other foot back, finding your first plank. Option to come to your knees for this first plank, or all of your planks is totally fine. We'll exhale, find your first chaturanga or low plank, sending the elbows straight back behind you, feeling your triceps kiss your ribs, lower the belly, the chest, and then the head. Relax the tops of the feet onto the mat, finding our first cobra. We'll start with a baby cobra so you can feel the action and the muscles that activate. Squeeze the shoulder blades together, lift the chest up. In baby cobra, you can even lift your hands off the mat as you feel most of this work happening through the top of the core, the upper back muscles. Exhale, release. This time, leaving the hands on the mat. Inhale, lift back up. You can put a little bit of weight into your hands to lift a little higher into this next cobra. Exhale, lower down. Option to find upward facing dog here as well. Again, starting with cobra, squeeze your shoulder blades together, feel the chest lift. This time lifting the thighs off the mat. Squeeze your glutes together. Really feel the thighs flex as you come onto the tops of the feet and to the palms of your hands. Exhale, lower down. Again, inhale, lift up cobra or upward facing dog. This time, exhale back, downward facing dog, flipping the feet, coming back to the balls of your feet. Now we're going to do the second part of our sun salutation for a few times before we put everything together. Inhale to plank. Again, option to come down to knee plank. Exhale through chaturanga dandasana or low plank. Inhale, lift up bhujangasana, cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale back, downward facing dog. Again, going at your breath's pace. Inhale, forward to plank. Exhale, lower down through chaturanga dandasana. Inhale, lift up bhujangasana or upward facing dog. Exhale back, Ardha Mukha Shavasana, downward facing dog. One more time, inhale, forward to plank. Exhale, lower through chaturanga dandasana. Inhale, lift up cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale back, downward facing dog. This time we'll put it all together, starting with the first part of our sun salutation. Inhale, lift up high on the balls of your feet. Exhale, bend your knees. Send your sit bone towards your heels. Look between your hands. Walk or step to the top of your mat. Forward fold. Inhale, reverse swan dive to the top of your mountain. Exhale, arms outside 90 mini back bend. Inhale, arms reach back up. Exhale, swan dive down, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back, pull your shoulders back away from the ground. Exhale, lower down, forward fold. Bend the knees, plant the hands. Step one foot back, step the other foot back, high plank or knee plank. Exhale, chaturanga dandasana. Inhale, lift up, cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, back, downward facing dog. Flowing through this again at your breath pace. Inhale, high on the balls of the feet. Exhale, bend the knees, look between the hands, and walk or step to the top of your mat, forward fold. Inhale, reverse swan dive to the top of your mountain. Exhale, arms outside 90, mini back bend. Inhale, arms reach back up. Exhale, swan dive down, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back, pull the shoulders away. Exhale, lower down, bend the knees, plant the hands, step one foot back, step the other foot back, high plank or knee plank. Exhale, chaturanga dandasana. Inhale, lift up, cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, back, downward facing dog. Taking a little breather and recovery, slowly come down to the knees. You can find yourself in a child's pose with your knees wide, or if you'd like to take another variation, you can keep your knees together, send your sit bone back, and then let your head come down. You can keep your arms extended out long in front, or perhaps you reach your hands back behind towards your feet. Finding whichever child's pose variation feels good for you right now. Taking your time to focus back on your breath if we lost it. You can find your Ujjayi breath again. Inhale through your nose. Exhale, push the air through the back of your throat. And inhale, slowly lifting up whichever child's pose variation we're in. We're going to do just a little bit of warming up for the wrists as we are going to practice a little bit of our crow pose today. Before we get back into our vinyasas, we'll just take our hands down onto the mat from our tabletop position. I'm going to face forward so that you can see a little clearer. And we're going to start by just flipping the palms over, big bend in the elbows. Palms are facing you, fingers are facing each other. And then inhale, begin to straighten the forearms just enough that you feel the stretch on the tops of your forearms. Not like we're trying to break your hands off or anything, just a little stretch through the top of the forearms. Holding here for a few more breaths. You can even add that little bit of movement as you exhale down. Maybe inhale up. And then reversing this stretch, we'll flip the palms. So now the fingers are facing the knees and the bottoms of the forearms are facing away. Shoulders start over the wrists. And then as you exhale, gently begin to bring the shoulders back in line with the wrists or even possibly behind the wrists. Now we're stretching the other side of our forearm here. Again, either staying still or having that slight movement forward and back. A few more breaths here. And inhale, slowly release one hand at a time. And we can come up onto our knees, just rolling out the wrists a little bit to get a little more movement in from that. And then switch, we'll roll the other way. And feel free to come back to this whenever you need it. If we start to feel a little bit wobbly on our wrists or they need a little break, they start to feel a little sore, it is fine to come up out of whatever we're doing and just take yourself back into that little wrist stretch and wrist opener. Coming back to our tabletop position, tuck your toes, tuck your belly in, exhale back, downward facing dog. From our downward dog, we'll find our first one-legged dog. Inhale, lift right leg back behind you. Keeping your hips square, squeeze the right glute to lift the leg higher. From here, exhale, bend the knee, pull it towards your nose. Finding a one-legged plank for just a moment. Inhale, send it back. Again, exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, send it back. And if this feels like any pain or bother on your wrist, feel free to come down to your forearms as well. Exhale, you can still bring your knee towards your nose as you do this. Exhale to the nose. Inhale, send it back. One more time. Exhale to the nose. This time we'll plant your right foot in between your hands. You can come down off of your back foot and onto your back knee. And we're going to take it into a low lunge, tuck your belly in, and inhale, lift the arms up, low crescent. Shoulders relax down and away from your ears. Tuck your belly button back towards your spine to help keep your lower back protected. And then exhale, you can let your hips begin to sink into this stretch and opener. Inhale through the nose. Exhale, Ujjayi breath. Few more inhales. Notice in each exhale how you might feel a little bit looser. You might even sink a little deeper into this low crescent. And exhale, bring your hands down around your foot. Option to use 2 blocks here to grab and to help balance yourself as we begin to hinge ourselves back, sending your weight into your back left knee, straightening the front leg, our right leg. Once your right leg is straightened, flex your foot. So pull your toes towards your face. From here, we'll exhale, begin to hinge from the hips. You can take your hands down to your blocks for a little balance. Keeping our spine long for as long as we can, and then exhale, we can begin to naturally round, just feeling a little more lengthening through the hip as we hinge a little deeper. Option to bring your fingers to the mat if they reach in this half split stretch. Inhale, think of lengthening through the torso. Exhale, think of hinging through the hip. Inhale, we lengthen. Exhale, we sink. Few more breaths here. Noticing where you feel it the most. Throughout the hamstring, the top, the bottom, the middle, maybe everywhere. And then on your next inhale, begin to bend the front knee, plant the front foot down, take the hands around the front foot, tuck the ball of the back foot up, coming off the back knee, send the right foot back to the left. Option to flow through our little vinyasa here from high plank or knee plank. Exhale, Chaturanga Tandasana. Inhale up, Cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale back, downward facing dog. Those are always options. You don't have to take them. If you'd like some more movement though, feel free to add them in every time. Inhale, lift left leg high this time. Again, keeping the hips square, squeeze the left glute to get the leg higher. And then exhale, pull the knee towards the nose. Inhale, lift back up. Exhale, knee to nose. Feel free to come down to the forearms again. Inhale, lift the leg. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, lift. Exhale, knee to nose. One more time. Inhale, lift. Exhale, knee to nose. This time, keeping the knee there. We'll plant the foot between the hands. Lower the back leg down, coming onto the back knee. Tuck the belly in through low lunge. You find your low crescent. Bringing your arms up. Relax your shoulders again, down away from your ears. Tuck the belly back just a little bit. And then exhale. And let the hips sink into this stretch. Trying to find where it feels good for you. It's a hip opener, so you'll feel that stretch through the front hip muscles of the right leg, but you'll also feel a little stretch and opening through the glute and the hamstring muscles of our left leg, or our leg that's in the front. Inhale. Exhale. Sink into the stretch a little more. One more inhale. One more exhale. Hands come down around the foot. Going to start to bring your weight into your back leg as you straighten the front leg or the left leg. Flex the left foot. So pull the toes towards the face. And again, hands on hips or on blocks give you a little extra balance support. We begin to hinge from the hips, trying to keep your back neutral or flat for as long as you can. And then you can let the hands come down onto blocks or onto your mat for your half split stretch. Just like we did on the other side, think of lengthening. Again, lengthen through the spine. And exhale, hinge from the hips. You might notice that one side feels different than the other. Maybe one side we were able to go down a little further. One side, maybe we're up a little higher and we feel a little stiffer in the hamstring. It's okay. It's natural to be not perfectly balanced or symmetrical. We're humans, so we're not perfectly symmetrical anyway. But if we do notice that one side feels a little tighter than the other, and that just means this side is asking for a little more love and a little more focus and attention. So if that is the side we're on right now, you can use your breath and thinking about each exhale, helping you to sink a little deeper, letting the muscles relax and open and lengthen back to a little more range of motion. One more inhale, one more exhale. On your next inhale, bend the front knee, plant the front foot down, hands come around to frame the foot, coming off of the ball, off of the knee of the back leg onto the ball of the back foot. Send the left foot back to the right. Again, option to just go right to your downward dog or flow through the little vinyasa. Chaturanga Tandasana. Inhale up, Bhujangasana or upward facing dog. Exhale, meeting back in downward facing dog. Inhale, lift the right leg back again. Exhale, bring the knee to the nose. We're going to plant the foot between the hands. This time, stay high on the ball of the back foot, finding our high lunge. Tuck your belly in, feel your core engage first to help you lift, and then taking the hands up to find our high crescent. In our high crescent, same thing, relax the shoulders away from the ears. Tuck the belly back towards the spine to protect your lower back. And then notice if your left hip is really going back towards the left. Try and square it towards the front. So keeping your left and your right hip in line together. There can be a little bend in your back knee to give you some support. But feel the front knee, stay in line with the ankle. If you look down, you might even see a sliver of your toes to know that your knee isn't turning inward too much. Inhale and exhale. We're going to pivot on the ball of the back foot, opening up into our first warrior two. So in warrior two, and I'm going to turn to face you guys, we're going to find that our feet are perpendicular. So our back foot is going parallel with the short edge of the mat, and our front foot is going parallel with the long edge of the mat. And if I were to take my front foot from my heel and take it all the way back to my back foot, it would line up directly in the middle of my back foot. Once we know our feet are in alignment, let's check in with our knees and our ankles. Looking down at your front foot, you should see a sliver of your front foot or your big toe. If you can't, it could be that your knee is internally rotating, so we just want to gently push it out so that you feel the inside quad or the inside thigh muscles start to activate. Making sure the back knee too is fairly straight and micro bend. Don't lock your knee out, but we want to see the leg fairly straight, and you do have weight in your back foot. Tuck your belly back towards your spine and feel your tailbone naturally tuck in. And then relax, drop the shoulders down and away from the ears. Hands come out shoulder height, and you look over your front fingertips. Once we feel ourselves in alignment, your next exhale, see if you can sink a little lower in your warrior two. Inhale, we sink tall through the torso. Exhale, maybe we sink just a little lower. Again, inhale, we're tall. Exhale, maybe we sink just a little lower. Very nice. And on your next exhale, windmill the arms down around the front foot. Pivot on the ball of the back foot. Send the right foot back to the left. Option again to flow through your vinyasa or take a quick child's pose or just meet in downward dog. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale back, downward facing dog. Preparing to find our high crescent and warrior two on the other side. Inhale, left leg up. Exhale, pull the knee to the nose. Plant the foot between the hands, staying high on the ball of the back foot. Tuck your belly in, finding your core's control to help balance you up to the top of your lunge. And then reach the arms up, finding the top of your crescent pose. Relax the shoulders. Draw the navel in. Square the hips together. Tiny bend in the back knee. And again, front knee is in line with the ankle. Reconnecting to your breath. If we notice we might have lost it since we're paying so much attention to our alignment in our body, very easy for us to forget about our breath. From here, on your next exhale, pivot on the back foot. We open up into warrior two on the other side. Again, I'm going to shift and turn the other way. You can see me from the front angle. Same thing, we're checking alignment with our feet, making sure front foot is parallel to the long side of the mat, back foot is parallel to the short side. Making alignment checks with our knees, and then tuck your belly in, relax the shoulders, and look over your front fingertips. Exhale, see if you can sink a little lower in your warrior two. getting a little stronger in your lunge. Inhale, we sink tall through the torso. Exhale, maybe we sink just a little lower. One more inhale. And then exhale, windmill the arms down around the front foot. Pivot on the ball of the back foot. Send the left foot back to the right. Again, option to find a little child's pose, meet in down dog, or flow through your vinyasa. Again. Exhale, back downward facing dog. Inhale, lift up high on the balls of the feet. Exhale, bend the knees, look between the hands, and walk or step to the top of your mat, finding forward fold. Now that we've warmed up through our hips and our legs, we're going to practice a little bit of our yogi squat to help warm us up for a little crow practice. So in finding our yogi squat, you can use your mat to find our width. We're going to take our feet. I like to heel toe my feet out so that the balls of my feet come off my mat and the heels of my feet are on my mat. And this gets my heels just a little wider than hips distance. Depending on how tall or short you are like me, you might find that you want your feet a little bit wider or a little bit narrower. From here, we exhale, begin to sink your sit bone back, letting the knees bend, trying to keep our feet flat on the ground. The heels might naturally try to pop up, but see if you can get your heels down. It's okay if you're high in your yogi squat, taking your hands to heart center, palms together, or perhaps maybe we can drop down a little lower, taking your elbows on the insides of your legs just above your knees to help give you a little deeper adductor and upper thigh muscle stretch. Holding here, inhale, see if you can let the shoulders relax down and away from your ears. Keep your chest up, keep your head up. Exhale, release the hands down, and inhale, straighten the legs out, finding a little wide forward fold. We're going to add a little bit of movement to help warm us up. So we exhale, sink down to your Balasana Yogi Squat. Inhale, lift the arms. Exhale, lower the arms. Inhale, straighten the legs. Exhale, Malasana Yogi Squat. Bring the hands together at heart center, lift the arms. Exhale, lower the hands. Inhale, straighten the legs. Again, exhale, bend into your squat. Inhale, lift the hands, lift the chest and the head. Exhale, lower the hands. Inhale, lift the hips. One more time. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. And inhale, lift. Slowly rolling up one vertebrae at a time, coming into a standing position. So preparing for our crow practice, if you have a block, we can take a block to the front of your mat. This is just for something for your head to fall to if you do find yourself tipping forward into your crow and you're worried about your balance and you want your head to be able to catch onto something. Otherwise, to find our starting positions for crow, you want to take your hands just behind the block. Again, you can scoot that up a little bit further. Hands are about shoulder width apart, and we can start from that yogi squat, sending your knees directly back behind your shoulders. We're going to see if we can just tuck one knee behind one tricep or your underarm, and then you can lower back down, and then tuck the other knee behind the other tricep or underarm, and then lower down. And maybe we just practice tapping and lowering, tapping and lowering. Perhaps if we're feeling a little bit stronger, we want a little more progression, you can bring both the knees together. And now we're starting to put weight into the palms, starting to send your weight and balancing through the core. Maybe we lift one foot and lower, and maybe we lift the other foot and lower. Knowing that the knees feel steady and balanced on the triceps or on the just in front of the underarms. Again, practicing lifting and lowering. And then perhaps if we're feeling strong, we lift both toes just for a moment and then come back down. Again, it's all about what your body wants to do today. Some days we might get crow perfectly. Other days we might not want to hit crow. So listen to what your body wants to do. Taking a few more moments to practice. Again, maybe we lift and maybe your head taps your block if it's there and you lower back down. Maybe if we've practiced enough and we don't want the block, We can practice lifting and balancing. Tuck your belly in, feel your core strengthen. Yes, we're pressing into the palms. Yes, the arms are supporting the weight, but the core is what's really activating. So we're not feeling everything come down into your palms. A few more moments here to practice. When you are ready, you can gently begin to bring yourself back down out of your crow, and we will meet in a child's pose. Knees come to the width of your mat. Exhale, sink your sit bone back. Let your arms come out long. Relax your head. Notice how your hips feel, how your back feels, how your arms feel from our first child's pose into this child's pose. Maybe warmer, longer, looser, maybe tighter in some places. Again, this is just about finding awareness and giving your body a chance to be the focus when we're on our mat. Letting your mind kind of take a back seat and letting your body really be the present and center of attention. On your next inhale, press into your palms, lifting off of your sit bone. Bring your knees back in line under your hips, hands back in line under your shoulders. Tuck your toes. Exhale. Send your sit bone high, finding another downward facing dog. Inhale, lift the right leg back. Exhale, bend the knee, pull it between the nose, plant the foot between the hands. Pivot on the ball of the back foot. We're going to open right up into warrior two. Tuck your belly in, arms lift up. Warrior two. Noticing how this warrior two might feel a little different after practicing crow in between the first one. Exhale, see if you can sink a little deeper. From here, we're going to find our triangle pose. On your next inhale, begin to straighten the front leg. Keeping a micro bend in the knee, don't lock the leg out. Staying high on the top of our triangle first, we'll begin to find extended triangle. As you inhale, send your right hand forward as if someone's pulling your hand forward to the top of your mat until you can pull forward no more, feeling that left hip going back towards the back of the mat, and then shift the arms. Right hand coming down, option to take your right hand to a block for a little balance help, and bring the left arm up, stacking your left shoulder over your right as if your left hand was going towards 12 o'clock. And if you don't need the block, option to keep your hand on the inside of your right shin, or perhaps even fingers touch the mat. Inhale, hold, stacking left shoulder over right, stacking left hip, rib over right, and sending left hip back. One more inhale, one more exhale. On your next inhale, tuck your belly in, lift back up to the top of your triangle, and exhale back to warrior two. Inhale, think tall. Exhale, windmill the arms down around the front foot. Pivot on the ball of the back foot. Option to flow through your vinyasa if you'd like to. Exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, Bhujangasana or upward facing dog. Exhale back, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift left leg back. Exhale, bend the knee, pull it towards the nose, plant the foot between the hands. Pivot on the ball of the back foot, open up to your warrior two on the other side. Again, I'm going to shift so that you can see me. Notice how this warrior two might feel a little different from the first time you did it on this side. Finding the strength through your legs, tuck your belly in, lengthen through your spine, and hold. Looking over your front fingertips. Preparing for a triangle pose on this side. Begin to straighten the front leg, send the right hip back. Begin to send the left hand forward as if someone's pulling you to the top of your mat. And then exhale, shifting the arms. Left hand comes down to 6 o'clock. Right arm reaches up to 12. Again, taking your left hand to a block or the mat, or resting your hand on the inside of your left shin. If it's comfortable, you can even take your gaze up towards your right fingertips. Not comfortable for your neck, you don't have to take your gaze there. Again, you listen to what your body can do right now. On your next inhale, tuck your belly in, lift back up to the top of your triangle. Exhale, bend the front knee back into warrior two one more time. Inhale, we think tall. Exhale, windmill the arms down around the front foot. Pivot on the ball of the back foot. Send the left foot back to the right. Option to flow through Vinyasa one more time if you'd like to. Exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale up, Cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, Ardha Mukha Shavasana, downward facing dog. This time, inhale, reach right leg up. Exhale, bring the right knee behind the right elbow, keeping it high. And then we'll shift and bring the right ankle behind the left elbow. Preparing for pigeon pose, lower the right shin down. And then lower the left back leg down. In our pigeon pose, we are generally seeking to get our right shin parallel to the short edge of our mat. But again, we're not perfect. So if it is not parallel, that's okay. We're aiming to get our right glute down towards the mat, keeping our hips slightly square. If it's not possible for your right glute to come down, that's okay. You can take a blanket, a pillow, or even a block and put it under your right glute for a little bit of support. From here, we can stay up at the top of your pigeon, or perhaps walking your hands down onto your forearms. If you'd like to find a sleeping pigeon, you can create a little pillow for your forehead with your forearms, grabbing opposite elbows, and then letting your forehead come down and rest between your forearms. Again, taking note where you feel this the most. In the upper outer glute, maybe the lower glute, maybe the hamstring, the back of the leg. Use your breath to send energy to where is needed most. Where's the tightest spot? What feels the most tense? Use your exhale to help you relax and to help the muscle relax. One more inhale and one more exhale. On your next inhale, if your head is down, gently lift your head up. Unfold your arms if they're folded. And then press through your palms to lift your arms up. Walk your hands back underneath your shoulders. Tuck your back foot in and under. Come off the back knee and send the right leg back high into a one-legged dog. Feel free to move the ankle, the knee, the hip. We were compressing on it, so letting the blood flow back. And then send the right leg down to meet the left. Inhale, left leg up this time, preparing for pigeon on the other side. Exhale, bringing the knee behind the elbow, and then rotating, bringing the left ankle behind the right, gently sending the left shin down to the mat. Right leg comes down back behind you, preparing for your pigeon on this side. Again, you can stay up here, you can come down to the forearms, or again, you can find your sleeping pigeon variation, taking it to where you need it on this side. And then notice again where you feel this the most. It might be different on this side compared to the right side. You might feel a little more tightness in the hamstring, or maybe a little more tightness on the top of the leg around the quad, or smaller muscles and ligaments and tendons that connect our leg to our hip. Then you can use your breath, the pranayama, that energy ujjayi breath as you have a long exhale. Hear the wave-like sound and send that energy to where it's needed the most in the leg, the hip, the glute. One more inhale and one more exhale. On your next inhale, lift your head up if it was lowered. Unfold your arms if they were folded. Pressing into your palms, walk them back in under your shoulders. Tuck the ball of the back foot, come off the back knee. Send the left leg high first. Again, option to roll out the ankle, the knee, the hip, adding whatever movement you need to. And then send the left leg back down to the right, finding our final downward dog. Notice how this last downward dog maybe feels different from the first. Inhale. Exhale, send the heels a little closer, send the sit bone a little higher. Inhale, and on your next exhale, gently lower the knees down to the mat. Walk the knees towards the hands, and then we'll fold one leg over the other to roll ourselves onto a supine position, onto our backs. Bending the knees, planting the feet on your mat, and then walk your feet in towards your glutes. We're going to find a little hip opener in our hip bridge. Taking the hands down by your hips, begin to squeeze your glutes together, and then begin to lift your hips up, and then one vertebrae at a time, lifting your back up until you're on the shoulders in the upper back, pressing weight into the balls of the feet. Tuck your belly back towards your spine, keeping your lower back protected by engaging through the core, but feel that stretch, that nice opening through the tops of your quads and your thighs. Inhale, exhale, hold. Inhale, exhale, hold. And inhale, exhale, hold. One more inhale. And on your next exhale, we gently lower down one vertebrae at a time, coming back down. Option to take a little counter stretch if you'd like to. You can grab your knees and rock side to side, or find windshield wipers if you need a little more of a hip stretch. We're going to find your glute bridge one more time. Option this time to make it a little more restorative if you'd like to. Bring your feet back in line with your hips. Walk your feet in close to your glutes. We inhale, lift the glutes up, and then option is slide your block on its medium height under your hips. Taking it to a comfortable position under your sit bone should feel easy for your sit bone and for your hips to relax onto the block. This is a nicer hip opener. You could hang out here for a little longer if you'd like to. Just letting the hips and the lower torso kind of melt into the block. Inhale. Exhale, Ujjayi breath. Inhale. Exhale. One more inhale. One more exhale. This time on your inhale, if you are on a block, squeeze your glutes. Lift your hips off the block and exhale. Lower down one vertebrae at a time. Coming back down onto the mat. Finding that counter stretch option if you'd like to. You can grab the knees, or you can find your windshield wipers. Whatever your body is calling for. Maybe a little bit of both. And taking it through our final bit of movement, bringing your knees in towards your chest. Option to grab at the shins or behind on the hamstrings. And again, you can find that little rock side to side. Or if you want to find a little happy baby, you can take your elbows on the insides of your knees, flexing your feet, and then try to wrap your hands around the outsides of your feet, your fingers reaching towards the arches or the insides of your feet. And again, happy baby, you can play around here, rocking side to side, straightening one leg, and straightening the other leg, maybe straightening both legs, bringing them together, acting like a little baby here, just playing around with your body and what it wants to do. If you roll to one side, maybe fall over, that's okay. Taking this final bit of movement into whatever your body wants to do. Preparing for our final pose. Once you're done moving around in your happy baby, you can bring your feet together, then bring your knees together. Starting to bring your legs into the smallest ball possible. Begin to wrap your arms. Maybe your arms wrap around and you can grab opposite elbow. Again, just creating the smallest ball possible now with your arms wrapped around your legs, and then you can lift your head up towards your knees. Close your eyes, squeeze your eyelids, your eyebrows, creating as much tension as possible, really creating the smallest U that you can. Inhale, add that little bit of tension, and then exhale, let it go. Releasing the tension. Let the legs come down long. Let the arms come down by your side. Finding our final pose of Shavasana. As you begin to settle into stillness with your body, just notice if you have any last minute fidgets. You need to roll the ankles or the wrists around, or an itch that you need to scratch on your face. Just slowly starting to feel the body relax on the mat, on the ground, on the earth. Begin to think of your body as almost melting and becoming one with the surroundings around you. Perhaps if you're lying on grass or sand, or imagine like you're lying on grass or sand, and to feel your feet melt into the ground around you, falling with your legs and your hips, your torso, your shoulders, your arms, your hands, your fingers, and your neck, and finally your head. Once you feel that your physical form has completely melted into the surroundings around you, completely relaxed and found stillness and contentness, finally relaxing your mind. You might have noticed that thoughts or distractions came running back in, and it's okay. Sometimes our mind is like an untrained puppy. You can let those thoughts and distractions run by, acknowledge them, and let them leave. Feeling your mind begin to clear. You can imagine a soft, warm light in front of you, finding yourself focusing on that soft, warm light. Whether you need energy from that light or you want to send energy into that light. Again, your mind doesn't have to be a complete blank to work on our meditation. We can just start by focusing on one clear thought or visual, like this soft, warm ball of light. And if your day is calling to you, you can gently begin to wake the mind and the body back up, bringing it back into this physical space. You can begin to wiggle the toes and move the fingers, maybe rolling the ankles and the wrists. Perhaps you want to take a good morning stretch and begin to point the toes and inhale, lift the arms over the head, feeling the low back gently, naturally lift. And then exhale, you can bend your knees and then roll to one side, finding a little fetal position. You can use your bottom arm, your bottom bicep like a little pillow for your head. And your top arm, your palm is just resting down on your mat. Just taking what you learned from this practice and thinking metaphorically as if you're going to put this practice in your back pocket to keep with you through the rest of your day, your week, your month, and to pull out whenever you need it. And with little to no effort, you can press through that top arm, lifting yourself up to a comfortable seated position, just like how we started our practice. Again, hands can come resting on the tops of the knees, palms face down or palms face up, whatever your preference is right now. Or if you'd like to, you can bring your hands together in a prayer position, taking your thumb knuckles to heart center first. And then exhale, tuck your chin in, bowing your head down. And you can bring your thumb knuckles in between your eyebrows to your third eye. Remembering that the yogi within me respects and honors and loves the yogi within each and every one of you. Namaste. Thank you for joining me today in this practice, and have a wonderful rest of your day.